becoming more and more organized each day, and we're building the infrastructure, and then every day we get bigger and find out that our infrastructure is inadequate.
Welcome back to Harvard. That's one of the protesters at the Occupy Wall Street rally right now in New York. We're now in week 3 of those protests, and the movement has been growing more intense. This weekend, crowds blocked traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge. There it is. Police arrested more than 700 protesters for marching there. And the movement is spreading. Activists staged similar protests in L.A. and Chicago. Here you see protesters in Chicago's financial district. Today, a report from our Chicago bureau says about 3 dozen protesters held signs, beat drums, and called for action against what they call banksters. Could these protests be the beginning of an equivalent Tea Party movement on the left? And why hasn't there been one yet? Joining me now is Van Jones, president of the progressive group, the American Dream Movement. This sounds harmless. And Willie Brown is a much more veteran politician from San Francisco, and he joins us. Let's talk about this right now, about this. Van, inform me.
Yes.
What's going on the streets right now of America? Is it something like the Arab Spring? What's going on?
Well, I think it's an expression of exactly the same thing. When we had the Arab Spring, welcome to the American Autumn. That is what is going on. We have hit a pain threshold in America. People, they see nothing coming from D.C., nothing coming from Wall Street. It looks like any kind of hope is going to be on the way, and people are not going to take it anymore.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. These are happening all during the day, during the week. Yeah. So, by definition, these young people are out of work.
Well, and they're not alone. We have young people who went to great schools. They did everything right, Chris. They graduate off a cliff into no jobs. They're praying for a 2-year unpaid internship, and that's supposed to be success in America. We got young kids coming back from overseas. They get dumped off, these young veterans at the airport, no jobs, no hope, nothing. And you're seeing a generation standing up. It happened all around the world. It's happening in America. And I think that D.C. and Wall Street should listen to these young people.
Mayor Brown, is this the free speech movement of the 21st century?
I think it's more like the free speech movement. It's somewhat akin to what occurred at the University of California many years ago when we were protesting the war in Vietnam. It's within the context, however, of a democratic system, and it's clear it will not be in the way in which other places where protests have occurred, that they've challenged the government. This is a challenge to some individual policies, not the government itself.
That's a very good point.
Well, let's start. Both of you guys start on this. Give me some particulars. What are some demands that make sense to people watching right now?
Well, first of all, what's going on, I think, with the young people, and I really invite you to have them on the show. They are incredibly articulate. They can speak well for themselves. I'm happy to talk about them as well as some of the work I'm doing directly. But one of the things, they've been criticized because they don't have demands. And I actually think that we should take that seriously because they may not have message clarity, but they've got moral clarity. They are calling attention, the nation's attention, to the incredible lack of economic hope and opportunity that's going on. The kinds of things, I don't think we should ask these young people to figure out derivatives reform or something like that. I think what they're saying is, look, we're sitting on a white hot stove, we're starting to holler. Rather than critiquing the way they're hollering, I think we should say as folks who maybe can make a difference here, this is a pain threshold. And I'm telling you what, the Mayor Brown is right. This is not going to be about the government. It's going to be about what I think they're calling the plutocracy, the plutocrats, the 1%, they say, who are sitting up on Wall Street, skimming off all the money, and the other 99% have been left.
But they don't care. Mayor Brown, do you think they care in New York whether these people are protesting them? These guys making zillions? They're not afraid of this crowd, are they?
No, I don't think the New Yorkers on Wall Street are afraid of the crowd, but I think people seeking elective office will grow concerned about the crowd. And if people seeking elective office grow concerned about the crowd, they may very well institute investigations around the conduct of people on Wall Street. After all, you understand, subprime mortgages never would have happened if somebody had, in a rating agency, listed them as AAA. That needs to be investigated, and somebody needs to be prosecuted.
Yeah,
that hasn't happened.
Who put these bouquets together and sent them over to Belgium and said, this is great property? Here, let's take a look. Amid the Occupy Wall Street protests and a conference of progressive groups coming together here in D.C., E.J. Dionne of the Washington Post asks 2 important questions in his column today. One, Why hasn't there been a Tea Party on the left? 2, can President Obama and the American left develop a functional relationship? Now, maybe those are contradictory, Van, but, people don't like protesting with the help of the government. They like to protest at it. Right. So what's he talking? Has he got a good point there?
I think he's got a good point. While this is happening in New York City, the Wall Street protests, there's something else happening here in D.C., and that is the American Dream movement is coming together. We have 70 of the most impressive left progressive organizations, the AFL-CIO, MoveOn.org, et cetera, all meeting now, right now, in the next couple of days, saying we are going to defend what we call the American dream, the idea that ordinary people should be able to work hard and get somewhere, and that the idea that that the people who are working not that hard and the people who are breaking all the rules on Wall Street, they're too big to fail, but no matter how hard we work, we can't succeed. I think the American middle class should be declared too big to fail. I think that the dreams of these young people out there in Wall Street should be declared too big to fail. And what you're seeing is
What's that mean? What's that mean?
Sure, well, I'll tell you what it means. First of all, we act like America is broke. America is not broke. We've got more money. We're the richest country in the history of the world. But we're sitting up here and we're letting school teachers be laid off and firehouses closed. And people are sick of it, Chris. People want to see some actual motion where we say, look, let the people who did well in America do well by America and start paying America back for they got the tax breaks, they got the bailouts, they took the money and ran, and they left the whole generation out. They're leaving small businesses to suffer. Now is the time. A pain threshold has been hit in this country.
Mayor Brown, I want your thoughts about the economy. It looks to me like a lot of jobs in this business and all kinds of businesses have lost the need for manpower. You go to a bank, there's hardly anybody there. There's an ATM. You go to a gas station, there's one person hiding behind a shield, a bulletproof shield, who's dealing your money out through a crack. You've got television. There's no more cameramen. I don't see anyone in front of me anymore, and it's what's going on. How do you change that structural reality of the American economy where these businesses have found ways not to hire people?
Well, you don't need to change it. What you need to do is take the picture out of Harry Bridges' book from a long time ago, when it was clear on the ports and the waterfront of San Francisco, we would be going to vans, we would be going to lifters, we no longer needed the manpower. He went to the people, control of that industry, and he said, share in the benefits that are going to come from this technological achievement, share it with the workers. And that's why you've had labor peace on the waterfront. The benefits were shared with the workers. America needs to begin to think that way about technology and the advances and the absence of a cameraman. And we need to know that that camera is not going to buy a refrigerator. The guy pushing the camera would have. We'd better figure out how to give him the money to let him buy the refrigerator, or there'll be no refrigerators.
Willie Brown for president of the AFL-CIO. But I tell you, that's what needs to be done. I agree with you completely. But we got to go. We'll continue. This is a conversation that's got to go on. Because I look around these cities like Philly, where I was yesterday.
Yes.
Everything really beautiful. The parks, the bridges, every public structure, every monument was built in the 30s. How come nothing's been built since? Nothing really good looking. We had no money back then, and we built stuff. How come when we have all the money now, we're not building anything? There's jobs to be done. Anyway, thank you, Van Jones. Thank you, Mayor Brown.